Alrighty, welcome to our Wednesday tips and tricks webinar on what do you put in your portfolio. It's probably one of the most common questions that I get asked when people learn about Bulb and they get so excited and they go, okay, what is your best tips around what do you do to get started and what do you put in that portfolio? So that's what we get to talk about today. But before I dig into what to include in your portfolio, I always want to kind of remind us about the purpose and the audience of your portfolio, because when you understand that, it helps you understand the things that you can put in your portfolio. And I love this quote, find out who you are and do it on purpose by Dolly Parton. And I feel like that fits so well with what a portfolio is. Because to me, a portfolio is a tool as much for yourself as it is for an external audience. So one part of your portfolio is going to be a tool that helps you reflect and discover who you are. You're going to collect things over time and see your ideas and your experiences and your growth blossom, and it'll help you understand who you are so that you can do it with purpose and intentionality. And then there's another part of your portfolio, and this is why Bulb becomes so powerful, is because you can share out parts of your portfolio with a certain audience. You can keep some of it private to yourself or with a very select audience. And then other parts you can really showcase out to the world or to a bigger audience using our private share links. And that's where the place that you can craft your intentional story that you want to share with others. So that's really creating that positive digital presence. What do I want to present to the world about myself and my work and my experiences? So thinking about those two concepts, just wanted to highlight a few of the most popular things that people put in their portfolios for both that growth portfolio and that showcase portfolio. And I'm going to start with the showcase pieces and talk about them, and then we'll dig into the growth stuff towards the end. But this is a great list of items to get you thinking about all the different ways that you can utilize your portfolio. Okay, so let's talk about that showcase side. I've selected 6 pages that I believe everyone should have in their portfolios. They should have an About Me page, they need a resume, they need work samples, document any kind of community service, awards or certifications, and then something about hobbies and passions. So the best way that I can teach people about what to put in your portfolio is to actually look at real examples around that. So let's kind of start with the About Me page. I'm going to use Kelsey Johnson's portfolio as an example, and I'm going to open up her About Me page here. And the About Me page is not your resume. You don't want to necessarily approach your About Me page and document, oh, here's my resume. You're going to have that in your portfolio already. That About Me page is really about us getting to know you a little bit, about your values. Maybe you want to tell us a story that has some kind of purpose or makes a point about something we want to learn about you. In those interesting things that you want to tell us, think about this as whatever you write on this page, it shouldn't be something that someone else could write also. Talk about your own experiences and how that's impacted you and who you are and where you want to go in the future. And so she's done a great job of incorporating images and talking about her family and how that has influenced who she is. She's highlighted some successes of what she's done. And I love that she also talks about her future. So that's a great way if you're a student creating an About Me page, you know, where have I come from, kind of who I am, and what am I striving for? What do I dream about? What do I want for my future? This is another great About Me page, and also shows about how that About Me page can really have a lot of creativity in terms of how it's presented. One of the things I love about this is that they used a video to introduce themselves. So bringing voice to your page using audio or video is a great thing to add to your About Me page. And Wayne's page here is very short. It's like who I am, what I do, where I'm from. And we really start to get his essence and kind of get to know him a little bit throughout that page. There are lots of ways to approach your About Me page, and we do have a ton of About Me templates that'll help give you some ideas. I find a lot of people like to just look at a lot of examples and say, oh, that's a good idea. I want to try that. How do I really want to present my message and myself? Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is your work. And this is probably the most challenging, but the biggest part of your portfolio. When you think about those 6 pages, those work samples are really, really important. And it's kind of the core essence of your portfolio. And a lot of people ask me, how do I do these work samples well? What works? What is a work sample? How do I present that? And so that's why I want to spend a few minutes today talking about. We have this great help page, and this will all be linked in the video as well as sent out in an email. But here are some ideas of when we talk about work samples, these are the things we're talking about. We're talking about projects, presentations, class assignments, research, writing, artwork, images, reports, products from a job or internship, project summaries. It's the work you're producing, the things that you create. So when you're thinking about selecting work samples, this is where that power of this portfolio over time comes into place, because especially if you're using this for an application or sharing with a job or something like that, you'll probably want to choose 3 to 5 work samples that you want to highlight your skills and capabilities. But remember, a powerful portfolio will have a lot more of that in there. And then you'll select out of the things that you've had in your portfolio, what are the things that are going to be most applicable to the audience and the purpose of why you're sharing that work. So when you're selecting work and deciding, is this portfolio worthy? That's a great question to ask yourself. Is this portfolio worthy? Portfolio worthy doesn't mean that it's a perfect piece. Portfolio worthy means that it has intentionality and purpose in why you're adding it to your portfolio. So some questions you might be able to ask yourself: what am I most proud of? And that could be proud because you accomplished something that was hard, or it was something that you thought really showcased your best skills. It could be, what's your favorite? What are you passionate about? What gets you excited? It could demonstrate something that was challenging for you or demonstrates your growth, or a particular soft or hard skill that you want to emphasize that you have. So those are great questions to ask when you're selecting work. The other thing in presenting your work is it doesn't always have to be in chronological order. So especially when you're doing it for a showcase perspective, you'll probably want to lead with a really impactful piece. That might be your favorite piece or the piece that you think will speak to your audience the most. And then make sure you also end with a strong piece so that you leave that impression, that final piece that your audience looks at, goes, oh yeah, they're going to be unforgettable. This is really, really amazing. So the hard part is, how do I then present that work on a bold page to really make that impact? And so we actually are going to go through a couple of examples, and then we have several templates that go along with this as well. The biggest advice that I would give in showcasing your work is to give context to your work, narration to your work. Tell us what we need to know to understand and put ourselves in your shoes and understand why this is meaningful to you. So introduce the piece, give captions, talk about what the challenges were, what the results were, what impact it had on you or the person you were producing the piece for. That's a great outline in terms of telling a great story about your work. So let's take a look at a couple examples of what this looks like practically. So here is a project page about redesigning a website. And we have a template that actually goes along with this kind of format, but talking about your role, the problem, why are you doing this project, The challenge, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is what the project is all about. And then finding those visuals that help tell the story. They could be screenshots, images, videos, embedded presentations that you create, audio for us hearing your voice talking about the project. So bring that page to life with those visuals. And so here he's talking about the process. This is how we identified our needs. And then here was the solution. And I love how he kind of puts the highlights. Here's the highlights to the solution. This is what we accomplished with our solution as well. Here's another completely different example. This is a student who did some coding and wanted to tell the story about the game that he created. And he did a really great job of finding different visual images to tell the story. So he starts with the concept, uses some videos here to kind of tell us, hey, this is how this works, uses screenshots of some of that code so we can actually see the back end of the things that he was creating and better understand that skill set. And then uses image carousels and other images to kind of go along as he's walking us through this story. Has a video of the game being played and then gives us a link to be able to try it ourselves. So not everything has to be a project. Work isn't always a project. A lot of us want to demonstrate some of those 21st century or soft skills. Public speaking is a great one. And Amaya did a beautiful job pulling together artifacts that demonstrate her public speaking skills. And so she embedded a video of her speaking at an event. I just want to start by thanking Samuel. And most importantly, caption that to let us know some details around that event. Included posts from social media. Those are great artifacts as well if they help you tell your story. She also has videos of her speaking and those speaking samples, and then giving us those captions, letting us understand what was going on in context with that. Here's another one. This is really showcasing your work from start to finish and saying, here are all the different components for a group project. So this student's group project was to create a game and used a lot of great artifacts. Here's their style guide that's embedded there, taking pictures of their original sketches. So making sure that as you're thinking about, these are things I might want to put in my portfolio, don't forget to try to get evidence along the way of different things that help us tell how this project came to be. Using the SketchUp, he has pictures of their mock-ups here, and this is kind of a longer page, but goes all the way through till the end with reflection on it as well. All righty. So hopefully that starts to give you a feel of what it's like to include work samples in your portfolio. And again, we have a lot of templates and resources that help you figure out the best ways to display your work, because each piece may look slightly different based on how you approached it and how you really want to talk about it. So the next thing I really want to dig into is kind of these bottom three: community service, awards, accolades, certifications, and hobbies and passions. These all continue to be components of your story, and they're great things that you should add into your portfolio. So let's come over here to Carlos. And Carlos has a great portfolio: who I am, here are the interests, his academic work. And he has actually an extracurricular page here where he has his volunteering and DECA as well in terms of interests that he has. And he did a really great job describing his participation. A lot of times you might think, hey, okay, I'm a part of this club, but really tell us as the audience and really think for yourself, what is it about my participation? What are those activities that I did? So give the audience an introduction into what is the organization? What is DECA all about? Why did I join? Why did I be a part of this? Was this something that a friend did and then I realized I actually loved it after I got into it, or something I've always been interested in? It's something I identified to help me with my future. Like, what got you into that? And then he did a great job of saying, hey, I've succeeded because I've participated in all these events, and this is kind of my journey with this particular organization. I love that he put a sample of his speech that he did for when he ran for the VP of marketing position, really creating unique artifacts that help tell this story about his journey with DECA. Highlights his scholarships here and what that scholarship is all about. A lot of times people say, hey, I got this scholarship, but scholarships are presented for lots of different reasons. So help us understand why you got this scholarship and what that was all about, all about as well. So here's another great portfolio, wonderful, wonderful content. One of the things I want to point out in here is that ability to showcase certificates, badges, certifications, awards. You could include video of you accepting the award, tell us about the award, add a picture of it, a caption, so honor roll here. A lot of students forget that they get certifications in these different things like Adobe or Microsoft. Put those in there. Those are showcasing your skills and the things that you've worked really hard for. And you can show them in a really visual way. Here's participation in a summer internship program. And again, giving us context into why you received these awards. Another great portfolio. I always get inspired by how portfolios look so different. And that's what's the power of being able to customize the portfolio in the way that showcases your uniqueness. It's what helps us all really take ownership of our work and our portfolio, because we're the ones in charge of how this looks and how we present ourselves. And so when I dig into the How collection, one of the things that we talk about including in our portfolios is passions and hobbies and things that we're interested in. And a lot of us have some really unique interests and passions and doing some really cool things. And so this is a great example of a student who really is into art and showcasing some of those art pieces. And I picked this page 1 because it's not super long. It's showcasing a few pieces, captioning each of these pieces, giving us an introduction into why this is important. But pages don't have to have this huge amount of depth and content. You want to have a variety of those pieces within your portfolio. It's okay to have shorter pages with just a few images on it, or a single image with a description or a reflection as well. Darrell here has a great portfolio. He has his academic work that lives alongside his extracurriculars. And I love that he has his band in here. He's very passionate about music. And so talking about what music is to him, he has a collection about his band. Here's how music has shaped me. Has videos that his band put together and performances, which is really cool. And also another side of it, audio and engineering. This is the first project that I did, and this is how it looked. And so documenting those hobbies as well. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. Those 6 pages are a great way to get started in your portfolio, and they also will be the center to helping support the new Bold digital resume that's going to be coming out in March. And so these are great pages to have to add to that digital resume to really create that evidence and that depth of what you're saying in your resume. And we will have a resume session on March 17th. So our Wednesday tips and tricks on March 17th will be all about the new digital resume. So that's why I didn't cover it a ton today, because we will actually have an entire session all about developing your resume. So now we're going to transition from showcase to growth. And There are lots of things that you can do from a growth perspective. And so a few things include keeping notes and key concepts from class or from like a professional development session. So when you think about a portfolio going with you from class to class and year to year, are there certain things that you want to go back and reference? Maybe it's notes because you know that I need to check on those key concepts so that I can get prepared for tests and review things from previous years. Do you attend professional development sessions and you go, what are my key takeaways that I want to make sure that I go back and reference when I'm thinking about my goal setting or thinking about some of the things that I want to do and changes that I want to make or the things that I've learned? So that's a great thing to keep in your portfolio. And you can keep them private to yourself, or you can share them with a group or with a teacher. There's lots of ways where you don't have to necessarily make that a public part of your portfolio. Digital notebooking is huge, and we have a lot of our schools who are utilizing student portfolios for science notebooking, ELA, literacy notebooks, social studies notebooks. That, you know, that experience of your paper notebook right here and the things that get tossed in the summer or lost. What are those interactive activities that you could just bring into Bulb and create kind of a digital notebook from that? Journal and reflection. I am very passionate about reflection. I think reflection with a portfolio go hand in hand. It's about getting to know yourself. And if you take the moment to document your work and reflect on that, you will go deeper, you will understand yourself more, you will be able to make improvements, and I'm think reflection is so important. Goal setting is also an amazing way to use a portfolio. Put your goals in there, keep those in front of you, collect evidence of you working towards those goals. Set a time for yourself to say, okay, I'm going to revisit my goal once a month and select one artifact to show that I'm working towards this goal, I'm making progress. Then you'll have that great goal page, and then you can share that with a supervisor or someone who you're being held accountable for your goals to say, this was my goal, and these are the activities that I've been doing and the things that I've produced to help me show you that I'm realizing this goal. And then just work in progress. Everything in your portfolio doesn't have to be finalized. Work where you're getting feedback and you have edits will help you see that growth over time as well. So those are great things to add to your portfolio too. I wanted to show you a couple examples of what some of those growth pieces look like. So talking about writing and just a place to document ideas and things that are popping into your mind, we actually have a lot of great quick write templates. So when thinking about having your writing in here and not always starting from scratch with your writing, being able to have some of these quick write activities where you can go back to that in your portfolio and go, oh yeah, I want to write about this topic now, and I'm going to take it based on some of those quick writes. And so we've, along with Shona Rose in Region 16 in the Texas, has helped us develop some really great quick write templates. We also have an entire collection of reflection templates that have examples that go along with them as well. So thinking about how do I incorporate reflection into my daily practice, these are some great things to be able to think about. So these are templates that are free to use for anyone. And there are lots of different ways and questions to ask. 2 things I learned last week, 2 things I've learned so far, 2 things I would like to learn more about. And just helping you get into that reflective habit. And these are great different types of templates. 3 things I remembered from the last topic. I press pause on my learning to do a brain dump. This is everything I know so far. If I were to do this all over again next time, I would. Now that I understand this, I can. And you just simply click on use template here to be able to then copy this into your portfolio and use this as a guide for your reflective practice. Okay, I love this quote because I think this really sums up the work that we've been talking about adding into your portfolio, but it's become a documentarian of what you do. And it really is adding those pieces, documenting your experiences, your work, your thoughts, and that is what ultimately becomes your portfolio. Okay, that is, hopefully you guys learned some great tips on what to include in your portfolio. And there are lots of great resources, and I encourage you to explore our resource library and our resource center. You can get to that by going under settings in your own portfolio and under more going to resource center, or you can go to our website as well and access our resource center. And there's tons of templates that help support all the things that we talked about today.